In these last 4 months, I lost 25 pounds of fat while getting stronger on my deadlift, on my squat, and just about every other exercise. And I want to show you the entire system that I use to get these results. It's very simple, it's no bullshit, it's just straight to the point. And it's a very effective system that's worked for me, and it's been working for a couple of my clients as well. One of my clients is already down 5 pounds in his first month on the program. And the reason why is because it's focused on a very simple approach. A lot of people, they overcomplicate the fuck out of everything, and they make everything harder than it needs to be. But this entire system, it's very simple, it's very straightforward, and it's very to the point. But man, I can't tell you how nice it feels to be looking super lean, like just being proud of myself for achieving the results I've gotten, and like the confidence boost that you get from this. Like 4 months ago, I told myself I was going to cut 25 pounds in 16 weeks, and I nailed it on a T. And just feeling like proud of myself for like accomplishing something. It's such a good fucking feeling, like when you achieve your goals. So I want to help you with achieving your goals because you clicked on this video probably because you're fat and you want to cut and you want to get a good physique. You're tired of the jokes, you're tired of looking like you don't lift and you don't put any work in the gym. So this is going to be your A to Z guide. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time. We're going to hop on the computer and hop right in. Alright, so we're going to hop into all of the practical knowledge that you need to know to make a crazy transformation. Now, this transformation took me about 4 months, and this was about May 2025, and this was end of August 2025. Weighing about 200 pounds in this picture, 175, and it even looks like I put on a bit of muscle. I lost all fat, I lost no muscle, I lost no strength. I even got stronger on my cut. So the way that I did this was by mastering my nutrition, having my training down, and just having a basic idea of how to cut. Now, so many people, they cut improperly. They are focused on losing weight, not losing fat. The thing with like fat loss and getting shredded and shit like that is like if you're focused on losing weight and all you care about is the number on the scale, you're just going to end up losing a lot of muscle mass, you're going to end up losing a lot of water weight, and a ton of shit that doesn't even really matter. We want to lose fat, like fuck weight loss. We want to lose all of the fat that we have so we can maintain muscle, look fucking sick, and get shredded, alright? So we're going to hop into some basic cutting knowledge right here, just like some basics, some 101 stuff, and then after that we're going to jump straight into the 3-2-0 system, all the implementation, and a ton of stuff like that. So yeah, let's hop right in. So the main goal of a cut is to lose as much fat as possible while maintaining as much muscle and strength as possible. Now the reason why maintaining muscle and strength is difficult on the cut is because you're in a caloric deficit and you have like less recovery available. It is harder for you to maintain muscle or put on muscle when you're in a cut because your like recovery bar is a lot smaller. So the way that we're going to balance this out is one, by eating a ton of protein, also and still including carbs in our cut. This entire idea that you need to get rid of carbs while you're cutting and that is the key to fat loss is a big fucking scam. Carbs are going to be your energy source and are going to help you perform better in your workouts. And carbs are so important that even when your body doesn't get any of them, it'll produce them on its own. So it's something that we absolutely need to keep in. And anybody selling this pipe dream that cutting out carbs is going to be the key to you getting shredded is just, again, selling you a pipe dream. It might help you get in a caloric deficit, but that's the only thing that matters. A calorie deficit is all you need to lose fat, and that's what we're going to focus on here. So you also need to shift your mindset. Diet is going to be everything. It's going to be responsible for 80% of your results since exercise only burns about 15% of your calories. That means like 2/3 of your calories are burned with your basal metabolic rate. There's about 20% that's burned from non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So that's like you just existing, you walking around, you going to work and stuff like that. That's going to be your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And then like 10 to 15% is going to be your exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically next to nothing. If you want to lose fat and you want to get shredded, you need to pour more time and more energy into your diet because that's going to be the only thing that's going to get you results. Anybody that's telling you, oh, you just need to do more cardio, or you just need to do this and that. Like, no, you need to focus more time, more energy into the highest leverage thing that you have, which is your diet. Like, when you get your diet down, it will be a fucking superpower. Like, that was the only way I was able to go from 130 pounds skinny to this in 3.5 years. That was literally all from just mastering my diet. I trained hard, I had a good diet, that's all it took. So your first actionable step is that we need to calculate your calories and get your maintenance calories. This is going to be probably one of the most important numbers that you have if we want to make sure that you're in a caloric deficit. But it's not always going to be easy to get this number. It's something you kind of have to experiment with, and eventually you'll figure out what it is. So the first step is that you just need to calculate your calories on a calorie calculator. You just go to Google, calorie calculator. I can't spell. You can just like click on this one or a different one. You just have to fill out some stats. And the thing is, these are pretty inaccurate, but this is going to give us just a basic idea. Then from there, we need to track all of our calories and our weight frequently. And if we notice an upward trend in weight, it means we're eating too much. If we're noticing a downward trend in weight, boom. And from there, we can calculate our maintenance calories. So for us, we want to lose anywhere from like 0.25 to 1% of our body weight per week, and we can calculate how big of a calorie deficit we need to be in with this right here. 1 pound of fat is going to be 3,500 calories. So that means a 500 calorie deficit every single day is going to be 1 pound loss per week. And then we just need to adjust your calories. So you're in a calorie deficit. You need to keep tracking your weight, keep tracking your calories, and watching the trend. And from there, you'll be able to figure out what your maintenance calories actually are. But I'd say the most important thing for this entire process is going to be step 2 right here. Like, we just need to track our calories and track our weight, and then from there we can make the necessary adjustments that we need. So if we're supposed to be losing 1 pound per week, but our weight is plateaued and it hasn't moved in 2 weeks, then we know that we need to subtract 500 calories from every single day, so we lose 1 pound of fat per week, because 500 times 7, that's 3,500, and that's going to be a pound of fat per week. Right? This is like a process you have to go through. So like the beginning of everyone's cut, it's always like a little wonky because you still have to figure this out. Now, I already knew what my maintenance calories was from bulking, right? I knew it was 4,200 calories for me every single day. So I knew, okay, I want to be losing about 2 pounds per week, 1.5 pounds. So I need to be in a 700 to 1,000 calorie deficit every single day. Now, the next thing that's probably the most important is that you need to find a maintainable deficit. And we're going to go over this a lot more later here in this cutting section down here. Right over here where it says diet. We're going to go a lot more in depth over there on the specific things, but usually losing like 0.25 to 1% of your body weight per week is sustainable, and it won't really hinder your performance that much. Now, the most important thing on this entire cut is that your performance in the gym isn't hindered, that you're still able to progressively overload and get stronger. Like, I added 30 pounds to my deadlift on my cut in 2 months. I got stronger on just about every single exercise. And that's because I dieted right. Like, everyone that tells you that you're only going to lose strength on the cut, that you're just going to get weaker, it's because you're cutting wrong and you're doing the wrong things. You're probably cutting too hard if that's the case. So we still want to make sure that we're in a good calorie deficit while maintaining our performance and while maintaining our strength. And before we hop into all the practical stuff, I think we need to reverse engineer failure, because most people, they fail on their cut not because of the information they have. Like, all the information is out there for you to take advantage of, but you don't succeed. Why? Because of you, because you keep failing. So we need to reverse engineer failure and figure out, okay, why do the majority of people fail, and what can I do to combat that? This is something I did when I started bulking and figured out, okay, why are most people failing their bulk? Well, they don't even have a plan. They don't know what they're going to eat every day. So what can I do to change that? I'll make a meal plan. They fail because they don't have the right meals at the right time. All right, I'll just meal prep all my food. So there's literally no excuse, and it's impossible for me to fail. Most people fail on their bulk because of discipline. All right, let me fix my discipline. Like, I reverse engineered everything. And that's what allowed me to get stupid results with bulking and also with cutting. Like, I figured out the reasons why. Why does everyone always fail? All right, let me just do the opposite of that. Let me find a solution to that problem that's actually going to work. And it would be so surprising to you, the amount of people that don't do this. They'll go to the gym for years and have the same problem again and again and again. And they'll never think about, how can I solve this problem? They won't ever think about that. They'll just keep trying again and again with something that doesn't work and keep failing. Like, you need to reflect and you need to understand yourself. You need to understand why you fail. And you need to make sure that you can get past that. Because again, you're not going to get good results if you don't work and you can't stay consistent. So We're going to quickly go through the main reasons that I've seen people fail, like having talked to a ton of people about their fitness, having coached people from my own experience. And the main thing I'd say is just a lack of mental strength and willpower. This is probably the biggest and most potent problem with anything. It's going to affect your consistency. It's going to affect your ability to push yourself. It's literally, I'd say 95% of people, they fail because of this reason or the next one I'm going to go over, which is a bad plan. But this is the motherfucker that gets everyone. Most people aren't working hard enough to get the results that they want. And to fix this, you need to fix your standards and you need to fix your habits. Like with the amount of information out there, like I can go on Google right now. I can go watch a ton of Mike Israetel videos. I can go watch videos from like world-renowned coaches in powerlifting. I can go watch videos from Hani Rambod, who's like basically the Michael Jordan of bodybuilding coaches. Like all the information is out there. But the majority of people are still fat and out of shape and have a fucking awful physique because they don't know how to implement it. So this is the thing. You need to realize that like you're probably the problem in all this. You need to put your hand up and say, I'm not consistent. I'm probably the weak link in all of this. And that's something you need to fix if you want to get results. Like this old version of you is not going to be able to make it. But you need to become a new version of you. And lucky for you, you get opportunities to train this every single day. You need to start viewing yourself as the new version of yourself that actually has the results and align your actions as closely as you can to that person. And this is something I think about every single day. I will chase that version of myself that is achieving my goals. Like, I don't know if you can see right here in the background. Like, I have papers on my wall. I had a disc plate that actually fell down this morning while I was working. Like, Arnold, one of my idols. Like, I've got so many reminders in my environment where I'm just thinking like, okay, how can I become this person? How can I become this person? How can I achieve this new identity that gets the results? Because here's the thing. How many times have you heard someone say, I'm just going to focus on my goals and actually get the results? How many of those people actually achieve it? Very few. The reason why is because if you're so focused on results, you'll like stay consistent for 2 to 3 weeks. But then when you don't see results, you're going to get demotivated and you're going to go into that tougher period, and that's where most people quit. If you focus on becoming the person that tracks his calories, not because he has some goal he wants to reach, but that's just who he is as a person, who doesn't train hard to reach his goals, but just that's who he is, you're going to have a much easier time staying consistent, because instead of you focused on this reward that you're going to get in like 3, 4, 5 months time, you're focused on becoming the version of yourself that can and giving 110% every single day. That's what I really focused on in this last year. Like in this last year where I got the stupidest results I've ever gotten in fitness. Like I went from 155 pounds, not really looking like I lift in clothes, benching 225 for like 2 reps to benching 315, pulling 430 on deadlift, blowing up my physique. Like this last year, I got the stupidest results I've ever gotten in fitness. And it never was because I focused on my goal and said like, oh, I'm going to reach this. Like I had goals. Don't get me wrong, but I was never like obsessed over them. What I was more obsessed over is showing up every single day and tracking all my calories, focusing on my training, making sure I was sleeping enough and recovering, and reviewing all of my stuff every single day. That's what I was obsessed over, not the results or anything else like that. I was obsessed over the daily habits, and that's why it became so easy for me to get the results. Because my consistency, it's not even really a question anymore. It's just who I am. I know I'm going to show up every single day because that's who I am. And that's what you need to focus on. You need to stop focusing so much on this big goal of like, oh, I want to lose 25 pounds. No, you need to act like this version of yourself that has achieved the goal, that does the habits because that's who he is. That version of you will lap the version of you that's just doing it to achieve your goals. So you need to become that new version of you because you'll never achieve a goal if you're chasing it. You'll only achieve that goal if you achieve the identity that can. You'll only, like if we think about this logically, right? If you wanted to become an F1 world champion, you wouldn't think about, oh, I want to be an F1 champion every single day. You should, instead of focusing on becoming an F1 world champion every single day, you should be focused on like becoming the version of you that can do that. Like, instead of visualizing yourself holding up the trophy all the time, you need to focus on becoming like the next Max Verstappen, the next Lewis Hamilton, and doing what they do on the racetrack, embodying their habits outside of training. That will yield much better results than just what everyone fucking does, which is like, oh, just focus on your goals, bro. Just like have your goals up on your wall and read them every single day. No, fuck that. No, you need to be focused on becoming this new version of you that actually can achieve it. So, that was a little rant on like how to change yourself and shit like that, but it's honestly the most important thing. Like, if you can focus on shifting your identity here in the next like 3 to 4 months, you will get any result that you want in fitness. Any result. Like, of course, if it's still like fucking attainable, like you're not going to put on 50 pounds of lean mass in a month. You're not going to put on 50 pounds of lean mass just because you believe in it and you become that version of you that can. Like, you'll still achieve that after a couple years, and there's still limitations with genetics and a ton of other shit like that, and it's probably not physically possible to build that much muscle without steroids. But what I'm trying to say is that you'll be able to achieve your goals. Like, it will just be a matter of time. Like, I know it's going to be a matter of time of me achieving my goals of 590 kilos on squat, bench, and deadlift. Like, it's just a matter of time. I'm showing up to training every single day. I'm tracking my calories, and that's why I'm going to achieve it. So chase this new version of you. Chase this identity and act like him as much as you can. So the next reason why most people don't get results is because they have a bad plan and it's too unsustainable. Now, this sounds like it's a complete contradiction to my last point. But even if you put in all the effort in the world and you became this fucking David Goggins disciplined motherfucker, you still wouldn't be able to get results if your plan just sucked. Like, if I told you to do 100 push-ups and 200 pull-ups and 300 squats every single day, your physique would still be ass after a year because you didn't focus on the most important things, which is like your diet and having the proper training and the proper nutrition. Like, you also want to get rewarded for all this work that you're going to put in. So make sure you have a proper plan. And again, we're going to go over a lot more of this later, and this is going to be one of the things that we fix, but the main thing is that you just need something that's also sustainable that you can stick to. Like, I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't be able to train like 2 to 3 times per day. I wouldn't. I've got too much shit going on in my life. And even from like a scientific standpoint, it doesn't make sense. But the thing is, you need to be able to repeat this every single day if you want to get the results. So you need to make sure it's also like realistic for you. Like, most people are pussies and they can't even stick to a diet for more than a week. So in that case, it's a problem of them not being able to show up to do the work. But if you're eating like just chicken, rice every single day and you're doing like 7 meals a day and you're doing 3 workouts a day, like, that's just too unsustainable. That's a bad plan. Like, you've also got other shit going on in your life. So you just want to make sure that you have a good plan in general. And again, we're going to go over this later. I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know. So yeah, that's the next thing. Just make sure you have a good plan that's sustainable for you that also gets you results. Next up, we have environment. Now, the environment is always going to win in the long run. So you want to set your environment up for success. And what I mean by your environment is your apartment, your house, like where you live, the people you hang out with. Like, focus on the stuff that you can change. We want to set this up to be as supportive as possible. Like, in my apartment, I do not have one piece of junk food. I have nothing that's unhealthy. Like, all I have in my fridge is literally just meal prep. It's eggs, some butter, and just Monster. That's it. That's all I have in my fridge. How can I lose when that's my environment? How can I lose? I literally can't. Now, you also want to focus on what you can change. Now, I can't change that at my workplace where I work and do my long shifts, that there's candy, that there's a lot of other tasty food, that there's tons of opportunities for me to cheat on my diet. I can't change that, but I'm going to focus on changing the things that I can change at home. So I'm not going to have any junk food. I'm not going to have anything that really tempts me to break my diet or like stray off the path. Not only do we want to get rid of all the bad things in our environment, but we also want to set up things that like support us more. Now, huge shout out to my roommate. This guy's also like super into training, right? And there's nothing that helps more with staying consistent than like literally having a roommate that is as into fitness as you are, that takes the gym super seriously. Like, I remember when I was living at home with my parents, like, I didn't have anybody to like rant to fitness to. I didn't have anywhere to like keep my meal prep and shit like that. Like, I still prepped my meals every single day because I wanted my results and I was willing to do what it took. But I remember as soon as I moved into this new apartment, I could fucking meal prep 4 days at a time, where I had someone who would call me out if I ever broke my diet and was being a fat ass. Like, that just made it so much easier to succeed. It was like a huge wind on my back that helped. So again, you need to focus on what you can change. So get rid of all your junk food, get rid of all that shit that's holding you back. And then 2, this is also as important, you need to set up stuff that is supportive, that's like supportive for your environment. So I don't know if you can see right here on the wall, again, like, those are my goals that are hanging on my wall. Right there, it's like my 5 non-negotiable things that I do every single day. Got fucking my Arnold poster here that fell off the wall. And if I open up my phone, I don't know if you can see that, but it says, think and act like the version of you on 10K per month. Like, I've set up my environment to be as helpful as possible for me so I can just keep moving forward and keep achieving my goals. And that's what you need to do for yourself. Like, trust me, the environment will always win in the long run. If you always have junk food in your house, you're probably going to continue cheating on your diet. Now, it's also a matter of willpower, but seriously, like, the easiest way to change yourself is to change your environment. So get rid of all that shit that's holding you back. Start hanging out with better people. Stop going out to these, like, fucking shitty environments, like clubs or like these dirty, degenerate parties. Like, that stuff is, again, it's going to tempt you to go away from this path. Like, if you want to achieve this goal, you're going to have to focus on it. Like, it's not going to be fucking easy. Like, I literally trained and ate perfectly for 4 months to achieve that goal. And it wasn't fucking easy. I had to say no to a lot of stuff. I had to say no to cravings every single day. I had to say no to going out. I had to say no to a ton of stuff. But that's what built my physique. And that was a trade I was willing to make because, bro, you know how fucking proud of myself I am that I look like this, that this is my physique? Like, 130-pound version of me would be fucking blown away to see this physique. And this is not me, like, boasting and saying, like, look how good I am and shit like that. But, like, I'm fucking proud when I see this shit. Like, I used to be skinny as a teenager. I used to have no discipline. And to be able to look at this, I don't know, it's just such a rewarding feeling to, like, see the results that I worked so hard for actually come in. So the next thing that's really going to throw you off track is having the wrong meals at the wrong time. Wouldn't it be easy as fuck to stay consistent with your diet if you already had all your meals ready and all you had to do was just eat them? Yeah, it'd be easy as fuck. And this is why we need a meal prep as well. Good preparation is going to beat poor performance. And we're also going to go into a bit more detail on, like, how to meal prep properly and shit like that. But this was one of those things that really helped me get stupidly consistent. Like, I don't really care what I eat. I just care that it works and that it's got the proper nutrition, got the proper macros, and that it's healthy, and that it's going to help me get closer to my goals. And this is where meal prep came in. I cannot tell you how fucking easy it is to stick to my diet, where instead of having to cook up anything, instead of having to figure out what I'm going to eat, I literally just walk to my fridge, I grab a box of meal prep, and I eat it. It's that fucking easy. So meal prep is a huge help. Like, also, if you're like a busy guy like me who doesn't really want to waste a ton of time on making food, like, this is the way to go. Now, the next thing that usually gets a lot of people is those, like, late night cravings. And this usually happens because you're hungry late at night, you're starting to feel fatigued from the day, and that you have a lack in willpower. Just because, like, it's later at night, you've used up the majority of your willpower throughout the day just working hard. The solution is going to be intermittent fasting. So basically, with intermittent fasting, you're going to wait with having your first big meal of the day till, like, 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And then you just basically have 7 to 8 hours where you can eat all of your calories and go to bed full. Like, on this cut, there's very few days where I went to bed feeling hungry because I always save my calories for later in the day, and I had and that means when I got home from work and training, all sorts of stuff like that, I could just eat a ton of meals, feel super full, and I just also have a cup of tea. That was also, like, really filling. It has, like, 0 calories in it. I actually got a fucking cup of tea right here. This combination right here, intermittent fasting, cleansing your environment, and having a cup of tea instead for late night cravings, works like a charm. This made cutting super easy, cut out all my late night cravings because, bro, I also want you to realize, like, I'm not different than you. I still get cravings. I still want to eat sugary shit all the time. Now, the last thing that really gets a lot of people is addiction to taste. Food is the most widely abused drug in the world. Like once you kind of like detach from this and you stop eating so much for taste, you realize how many people just like eat for dopamine and how many people are just addicted to food. Like it's genuinely nuts. Like you also see this with a ton of people when you tell them like this is so apparent when most people see what I eat, they think I have like a mental disorder or something like that. I'm just eating for my goals. Like eating healthy is also considered dieting. Like how fucked is that? How crazy is that to imagine that if you don't eat fucking poison and awful food, that you're dieting, that you're doing something weird. That really tells you like how fucked the world is and how like most people are just again slaves to their tongue. They're just addicted to everything and they only eat for taste. So I want you to have this big mindset shift that you're going to eat for nutrition and your goals, you're not going to eat for taste. Because this need for taste is going to be the thing that usually leads to a relapse and you just like cheating on your diet. So if you can get rid of this need for like tasty food, you're going to have a really fucking easy time on any diet, anything like that. Like you will 100% be able to stay consistent. If someone told me you'll never be able to eat junk food again for the rest of your life, honestly, I wouldn't have a huge problem with it. I kind of have this acceptance in my mind where I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm cool with that. It's not the end of the world. I know some people, if they heard that, oh my God, they'd be losing their shit. Now, do you think those people are going to have an easier time sticking to their diet? No, because their brain is always craving that. So if you can change yourself from like craving a ton of like tasty bullshit to craving results, craving nutritious food, that's really going to set you up. And also the nice thing about like eating clean for a while is like after 3 weeks, it gets really easy. It's just that first 3 week period where it's like difficult to break away from everything. You'll get the cravings, you'll get all sorts of shit like that. But once you build up the momentum and get used to your meal prep and you get used to just eating clean, you'll notice how easy it is to really stay consistent with your diet. And now you can really like break away from all this tasty bullshit. So trust me, like it only really takes 3 weeks to get rid of this addiction to taste. All right, now we have your second actionable step. You need to cleanse your environment. Get rid of all your junk food and set up your environment for success. This is going to be the part where a lot of people pussy out. A lot of people are going to say, oh, but it's bad to waste food. You know, food waste is bad. You fat. Okay, someone needs to hold you accountable. You're being a fat motherfucker right now. If you think that those $20 of groceries is worth more than your goals, then becoming this new version of yourself and actually committing to this change that you want, you're never going to succeed in this. You're not. I'm just going to tell you straight. Like, this is your first step into this new identity and this new version of you that's going to succeed with your results. This is like the first necessary step that you need to take. So cleanse your environment. Get rid of everything that you can that's not going to help you with you. You need to cleanse your environment and get rid of everything that's going to hold you back from getting results. Plus, this way of thinking that you're operating on right now, it hasn't gotten you any results. And it's not going to help you here. It's absolutely not. And this was something, like, even for myself, like, the reason why I'm getting, like, so heated when saying this and calling you a fat motherfucker is because I had the same limiting beliefs when I was throwing out my junk food and I was cleansing my environment. I didn't want to leave that stuff behind. I thought, oh, it's bad. I'll just eat it, right? And then from there, I'll never buy it again. But that just turns into a fucking loop. Like, you already know right now, it's a cope. It's such a fucking cope. Like, you're gonna go buy more junk food and say, oh, damn it, I bought junk food again. Looks like I'm gonna have to eat it. I don't wanna be a bad person and waste. Fuck that. Throw it out. It's not gonna help you. Trust me, $20 in food waste is nothing. The average American already wastes like 5 pounds of food per day. You're not fucking hurting anyone by throwing out some junk food. Like, you're just rejecting poison from your body. It's not that deep. Throw it out. All right, now we're going to move on to the cutting basics. We got the 3 things right here. So we got our 3 basic pillars right here. So we're going to hop into the first one, which is your training. Now, there's 3 things that really matter for training. It's going to be your training volume and frequency, progressively overloading, and training intensity and fatigue management. So for your training volume and frequency, we're going to want to adjust this and crank it down a little bit because you have less recovery available on a cut. You need to imagine that your like bar of recovery is probably going to be significantly less because
we have significantly less resources available in our body on a cut. So we need to make sure that we're able to manage our fatigue properly. So if you're constantly fatigued and sore, you need to change up your split to have less volume so that you can recover more. And remember, the goal is to lose as much fat as possible, not to tank our performance and tank our amount of muscle. So aim for a frequency of around 2 to 4 times per week per muscle group, and aim for around 6 to 20 sets per muscle group per week. Like, I've done about 9 to 12 sets per week and had a frequency of about 2 to 3 times per week for every single muscle group, and that's worked perfectly for me. Now again, this is also finding something that works well for you. If you enjoy only training 2 times per week, do that. Just make sure you're getting enough volume and frequency in. But this is like the guidelines that your split should have. Now, if you're able to do 20 sets per week on a cut, you're insane. Like, that's more than I can do on a bulk. I'd only really recommend around like 6 to 12 sets per week. But you can still get away with 20 if you can recover from it. So now the next thing that we need to focus on is progressive overload. You should still be able to progressively overload on a cut. And yes, you heard me right. I had 30 pounds to my deadlift while I was on a cut. I got stronger on all of my exercises. And the reason why is because, again, my cut was focused on performance and gaining muscle and losing fat. If you aren't able to progressively overload on a cut, that's because you're cutting too hard, it's unsustainable, or that you simply just need a deload. Now, I'm going to go over a couple of things in diet to make sure that you're not under eating and completely tanking your performance. But just know, like, on your cut, you need to train as hard as you can where you can still recover from it, and you still need to be pushing yourself. Most people, the reason why they lose a ton of strength and they lose a ton of muscle on the cut is simply just because, again, they cut too hard. Now, I'm going to go more over this in the diet section, as I've said it fucking a million times this video, but you get the point. Our training should still be progressing. Now, you still should be taking your deloads on a cut. So basically, what happens a lot every like 2 to 6 months of training is that you need to go on a deload because your systemic fatigue has built up over such a long amount of time that it's hindered your ability to progress anymore. So the solution to this is taking about a week's rest from the gym. And there's 3 strategies that you can use. The first strategy is you just do nothing for a week. No gym, you just focus on sleeping well and recovering. The second strategy is that you still go to the gym, but you cut your working weight in half and you do the same amount of sets and the same amount of reps. These are going to be really easy workouts, but again, on this deload week, we really want to focus on our recovery. And the third thing is that we're going to cut our working reps in half. So if you normally do 225 for 10 on bench, you're just going to do 225 for 5 reps instead. Now, if I had to recommend any of these to you, I'd just say take a week off the gym, recover, and trust me, you'll have a ton of fucking motivation to go back and train. But if strength is your primary concern, take the third strategy. Just cut your reps in half and still use the same weight. But you should only be doing that if like strength is your sole focus in the gym. If it's not, seriously, just take a week off the gym, take it easy. So just keep going for more reps on every single exercise and keep an eye on your lift. If you can't progress anymore, that's when you need to troubleshoot. It's because you're either being a bitch, you're cutting too hard, or you need a deload. So if you know that you're training hard, you're not being a bitch, that you were progressing before but your progress has stalled, that's because you need a deload. But if you notice that you're training hard and you can't even progress at all, even after a deload, that's because you're cutting too hard. So you can kind of just use this to troubleshoot and figure out what your problem is. And also having a coach to tell you what to do is going to be huge right here, because a lot of people, they get in their own head about everything. Like even a week ago, like I got one really bad night of sleep where I fucking slept like 4 hours in the whole night, right? I was feeling completely cooked and I started contemplating taking a deload week. But I really just started analyzing it from like a bird's eye view. I got some second opinions on it. And from there, they told me like, no, you don't need a deload. You're just getting in your own head. You're still progressing. Your lifts are still going up. If it continues, okay, then take a deload. But for the most part, having a second opinion on it, that's what you need. And that's really going to help this entire process go over a lot more smoothly. So that's honestly like one huge piece of advice I have for you. Like invest in a coach, invest in someone who actually knows what they're fucking talking about, because those are going to be the people that are going to help you get results. Like I can't tell you how many of my clients have told me that, dude, like literally just having someone to tell me what to do and keeping an eye on everything has been the biggest fucking help in the world to me. Like I've also benefited from this myself. Like I've had fitness coaches in the past that have helped me make a ton of progress. And I'm even considering getting one again, just because like It's such a nice thing to have. Like, just have a second opinion on everything. So anyways, the third thing is your training intensity and fatigue management. So going close to failure is still going to be a necessity on our cut, but we need to cut out everything that just gives way too much fatigue and doesn't make sense. Like, if you're doing 25 reps to failure on squat, well, first of all, respect. But second of all, you're being a dumbass. Why are you doing this during the time where you have the least amount of recovery available? Like, you're doing the most fatiguing thing in the dumbest time to do it. So just cut out all unnecessary stuff. Now, also for me, I had to cut about 4 to 5 working sets per week out because I literally just couldn't recover from it on my split. I was feeling too sore. I was feeling fatigued. I wasn't progressively overloading. So I had to cut out some of the volume that I had. But that was a necessary step for me to take so I could make sure that I kept progressing. So just cut out exercises and volume that you can't recover from. And also you need to make sure that your sleep is on point. You need your 7 to 8 hours per night for proper recovery, especially on your cut. Remember, you have a lot less recovery available. So you need to make sure that you're getting your sleep in, that you're getting your nutrition in, which is, we're about to go over it. You really need to tighten up when you're on the cut because you're kind of like, you're really fighting your body here. You really need to make sure that everything is on point with the cut. So next up, fuck cardio. Cardio is so overrated for fat loss and it just makes you more hungry and increases your fatigue. So if you're on a cut, I just focus on getting 10K steps per day. So we have like a baseline amount of movement that we're getting every single day. And then just eat in a calorie deficit. That's literally it. That's all you need to do to get results. Now, also when you're in a cut, your body is smart. Like, your body knows that you're trying to lose fat and it's going to do everything to fight you for it because biologically it doesn't make sense to get rid of all your fat. Because what happens if you have a famine and what happens if you can't hunt food anymore and you have to survive for a couple days without food? Well, that's where it makes sense to have fat stored on your body. So your body's going to do everything it can to hold on to that weight. And one of the ways it's going to do that is by getting you to like conserve energy on more things that you didn't even think about. So instead of like walking around more, you'll sit down, you'll find a reason to sit. You'll do a lot less like active activities. And just in general, you'll make sure that you burn fewer calories because again, your body's trying to conserve that. So that's why you need to get 10K steps per day just to make sure that you have like a baseline amount of calories that you're burning. All right, now the long-awaited section, diet. So here's the things that really matter for our diet in the long run. The first thing is going to be our calorie deficit, which is going to be the way that we lose fat. The second thing is going to be your energy and satiety throughout the day to make sure that like you still have energy to perform in the gym and just perform in life in general. And the third thing is going to be your macronutrient index. So let's hop right into calorie deficit. So we want to be losing anywhere from 0.25 to 1% of your body weight per week. And if you notice that at any point in this range that your workouts are taking a hit, you feel low energy all the time, and all you ever think about is food, that means you're cutting too hard, and that means we need to add some more calories in. Now, this might sound stupid in the moment because you'll lose like less weight in the short term. It's going to be better in the long term because you'll hold on to more muscle, and again, you're going to be losing more fat, which is exactly what we want. So to make sure that we're in a caloric deficit, like you need to track your calories. Your phone eats first. And I can't tell you how many motherfuckers I've met that tell me like, oh, I'm in a calorie deficit, but I don't track. All right, you know what? I'm just going to send a rocket to the moon. I'm going to put no GPS system in it. I'm just going to send it. I'm just going to try and hit the moon. That's basically what you're saying when you tell me that you don't track calories. Like you have no idea how much you ate. You don't. Your brain is so stupid at keeping an idea of how much food you have in your body. The only way that you know that you're in a calorie deficit is if you tracked it. So make sure you build up the habit of your phone eating first. You're going to have to track all your calories. That's just a necessity for this protocol. Like the only way I was able to start getting stupid results in fitness was tracking all of my food. Now the next thing is that you need to track your weight. At least one time per week, weigh in. And just keep an eye on the trend in the graph. Like, you're going to have weight fluctuations. I woke up like 2 pounds heavier some day than others. But overall, I've still noticed like a downward trend. That's what's important. You still, like, your trend should be going downwards. You should be losing weight. And if you're not doing that over a long amount of time, that means you need to make some adjustments to your diet and that you need to eat less. But yeah, this is going to be one of those things where it's like the data's a little more iffy. You're going to have weight fluctuations and shit like that. And this is where it's just important to kind of like detach yourself from the numbers and just look at it as if like you're a scientist every couple of weeks. Like, oh, haven't lost weight, right? Oh, haven't lost weight, haven't lost enough weight. Let me make the necessary adjustments. So the next thing is going to be your energy and satiety. You're going to need energy to perform in your life and in training. So we need to make sure that our diet supports that. Like through this entire cut, I've always been like high energy. I've had good energy before all of my training. And also, like, to push yourself in training, you need to be feeling good. You need to have energy. You need to feel full. And, like, you mostly want to feel full throughout the day, so you also have fewer total number of cravings. So the way that we're going to do this is, like, for your training, you need some good pre-workout nutrition. Eat 50 grams of fast-digesting carbs before your training. This can be honey on rice cakes or something like that. That was my go-to, but just find a fast-digesting carb you can eat 30 minutes before training, and you will feel like $1,000,000 when you train. Now, the next thing is intermittent fasting with a protein breakfast if you want. So what I did is I'd have a protein shake or eggs or meat for breakfast, and it only had around 200 calories and like 30 grams of protein. Very high in protein and fats, which is very satiating. And then I just had my first meal of the day at around 2 p.m. And from like 2 to 8, I had like 2,700 calories that I could eat. Do you know how easy it was to stick to my diet when in a fucking 8-hour window, I can eat that many calories? It was so easy for me, and that's just because I had this like perfect window set up with intermittent fasting. So also I'd spam black coffees because caffeine is an appetite suppressant, or I'd also have like some Monsters, stuff like that with 0 calories in them, and that really helped suppress my appetite and just like keep me full until like 1 to 2 p.m. where I first started like feeling my energy dip a little bit, and then boom, I'd have food and I'm back in the game. So that combination right there has been huge for losing weight. I mean, losing fat. And the third thing is your macronutrient breakdown. So on a cut, you want to aim for around 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Now, more of the protein in your body is going to be converted into energy on a cut, which is why it's necessary that we get more. Now, on top of that, protein is going to be very satiating. So just make sure you're getting enough protein in on the cut. Now, fats are also going to be satiating, so focus on getting more fats in, but you still need to get some carbs, especially before your training. You're going to need carbs to perform in your workouts, and anybody that cuts out their carbs on a cut notices like their training take a big hit. So if you're not going to eat carbs with the majority of your meals, just make sure that you eat them before training and also after training. Your post-workout meal needs to have some carbs. You need to replenish the glycogen and the energy in your body. So make sure that before your workouts and after your workouts, you're eating a good amount of carbs. So on a cut, just aim for that 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, and your diet should have around 20 to 40% fats and 20 to 40% carbs. So following all these dietary guidelines, that's where it brings us to the 3-2-0 system, which is just the implementation and the execution on all of these principles. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find 3 to 5 recipes. Most people, they eat the same 3 to 5 meals again and again on repeat. People are creatures of habit, and once we build up a routine that we find enjoyable and that we stick to a lot, it becomes a habit. We get stuck in that routine. So you need to find 3 to 5 recipes that meet your needs in terms of calories and macronutrients. And if I'm being honest, the way that I found my meals was I just YouTubed some shit and just copied those recipes into ChatGPT and got them adjusted to my needs for like proteins, carbs, fats, calories, all sorts of stuff like that. And that was really my strategy for like mastering my diet and finding those 3 to 5 recipes that I eat like every single day. And if you want like 3 to 5 recipes you can use for your own cut, just shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll send you over some stuff. Now the next key to this puzzle was meal prepping 2 times per week. Proper preparation is going to be poor performance. Just make it easy for yourself to win. So I meal prep every 4 days, and I plan this out in my calendar. So I don't know, I can do a live show of my calendar. Guarantee it's going to be in here. Boom, right there. Meal prep. I just plan this shit out every 4 days and find all the time in my calendar, and then plus I also track all my calories when I meal prep. So really in 4 hours time per week, I knock out all of my dietary needs. I track all of my calories. And I also saved all the recipes on my phone. So I know I make the same shit every single time. I still weigh it out to make sure it's the same. But literally, it takes me like 4 minutes to track for 4 days. It's the easiest shit in the world. And like, once you get really consistent with this system right here, it becomes so difficult to actually lose. So yeah, plan out your meal prep in your calendar. What did I just click on? Yeah, and just plan out your meal prep in your calendar. Now, the last thing that we already went over is a zero junk food environment. So you just need to cleanse your space of all distractions and things that are going to keep you from reaching your goals. We can't control everything, but if we can improve the space that we spend 40% of our time in, that's a huge W. And your environment's always going to win in the long run. So make sure the environment helps you out. And boys, that's everything for basically how to get stupid results with the cut, how to get rid of a ton of fat, and yeah. So if you want someone to coach you through this entire process and you want someone to hold you accountable every step of the way and lay out a stupidly easy plan to execute on, you can go book a call down below and we'll see if you're a good fit for my one-to-one coaching, where I've helped a couple guys already get ridiculous results. I helped Taylor add 60 pounds to his bench, gain 10 pounds on his bulk in 3 months. That's just lean muscle. I've helped a couple other guys add like 30 pounds to their bench press in a month, put on like 4 pounds on their bulk, dial in their nutrition, dial in their habits, start getting stupid results from fitness. So if you want like my personal help with just getting stupid results, yeah, just go book a call, go subscribe, go comment, let me know what you guys think of this video, and take care, boys.